Welcome back to the Meadowtown Lessons, where we focus on the development of the individual person as well as their business. Real estate from the inside out. Our guest today is Michael Launslager, who is an economic development officer from the Town of Milton. Michael gives us a summer 2018 update regarding what's happening in the Town of Milton from an economic development perspective. If you do business in Milton, this is a session filled with insights and information.
Thanks for coming out, and I'm going to introduce you to Michael. He's from the town, and I'm going to let him take it away.
Thanks very much. Yeah, really great to join you guys. I wasn't expecting a group of this size, so I do have a few take-home materials for everyone here, and I can certainly get you more, but there's about 10 there, so feel free to put these over here, help yourself at the end. I have a short presentation today, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. Our marketing advisor has been off for the past week, so I apologize. It's not too flashy. It's very basic, but you'll get the sense anyways. And I'm just going to basically go over, first of all, what we do at the Economic Development Department with the Town of Milton, and then some of the current things happening in the town that might be relevant to you guys, and then obviously questions at the end. So before we get to that, I wanted to start off with our brand new marketing video that you may or may not have seen, but I think it really sort of summarizes the new approach we're taking to economic development, which is one that's focused on the kind of people we want to attract to Milton. Play that for you here. See, it's very short. It's only about a minute long.
As we've grown, we've become stronger, smarter, and more daring. Our vision for the future is no less bold. We don't need to look for our story. We are the story. This is Milton. Visionary, collaborative, dedicated, driven. We are entrepreneurs, artists, and athletes. We attract young, educated talent because they see Milton as a place of possibility. A place where ideas thrive and businesses flourish along Ontario's innovation corridor. A place filled with open spaces and natural places that never cease to take our breath away. A place that supports and invests in lifelong learning and world-class amenities. A place dedicated to building complete and connected neighborhoods. Together, we push limits, support local, take risks, celebrate victories, and invest in the power of ideas. As explorers, inventors, and creators, we make Milton a place of possibility.
So that's our new promo video that you can find that on our website actually too. And again, I just wanted to show that because I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but thanks. About a year ago, we did a corporate-wide rebranding exercise. The old logo was that sort of rectangle with the Milton kind of node to the escarpment in the background. So that's our new logo there. And what we've done over the past year is sort of refresh all of our marketing materials to reflect that new brand and the new logo. It's one that's supposed to sort of represent the energy we have as a young, growing town. Sort of a shift from the old way of thinking. So anyways, the agenda for this morning, again, just talk about what we do from the Economic Development Departments, some current trends and projects underway, and then where we're going from our department's perspective over the next little while. This is our mission statement from our new economic development strategy. Basically, the key pieces in here that are maybe different from what you have seen in the past are the focus on innovation, quality of life, collaboration, and the knowledge economy. So those are sort of the main pieces to grab out of that. And this is a very sort of simplified version of it, but essentially these are the 4 areas that we focus on from our department. So business retention and expansion really speaks to the work we're doing with the companies that are already located in Milton to help them grow and to make sure that they're retained within the community, whether it be things like hiring, government grants for training, that kind of thing, physical expansions of their facilities, those kinds of things. The investment attraction piece is our outbound marketing and business development that we do, and that is sort of built around targeting specific companies we want to attract to the community based on the profile of our labor force, what sort of unique needs they have in terms of, do they need to be in a specific location? A lot of you probably know the 401 Business Park just north of the highway there, where a lot of logistics companies are based. So that's a good example of sort of an asset that they kind of cluster around that we try to play off there. The Milton Education Village Innovation Center is another project. I'm not going to call it a project. It's a long-term sort of strategy and sort of way of thinking, I guess. It's at 555 Industrial Drive, so that is just off of Steeles and Bronte. And that is our co-working innovation center. We have about 20 or so tenants right now, small companies that are working there. It's a collaborative space where they can sort of, bump into other people, bounce ideas off of them. It's full of entrepreneurs and growing companies. And so our main goal with that is to incubate some of these smaller companies and then to help them grow into larger facilities in Milton so that they stay in the community. And hopefully are then hiring and creating more, more investment for the community. And then the final part of that is strategic projects. So, that is sort of the rest that doesn't fall under those three categories. And as an example of one of the projects we're working on right now, the town of Milton is a fairly major landowner in the downtown area. You guys probably know the old post office building that's now a Habitat for Humanity restore. So that is a town-owned building, and one of our first projects within that area is going to be to redevelop that building into a let's say 4 to 6 story office mixed-use building. So that is something that we're currently working through in terms of identifying how we're going to do it, who the partners are going to be, and what it's going to look like. And that's probably a 3 to 5 year project. So the thinking behind that, again, is to create momentum for office uses in the downtown area. We see a lot of demand for it. There's just nothing out there in terms of supply to sort of speak to that demand. So we're trying to act as that catalyst to push that along a little further. Yeah, and just some current trends we're seeing. So I focus this presentation obviously on the non-residential side. I know you guys are probably, a lot of you, working in the residential real estate sector. So again, we can sort of talk about how this the two sort of interact with each other. But the 401 Business Park that I spoke about before, just north of the highway, that area is largely built out. I can't even remember. I've only been here for 6 months, so I'm not even sure how long that process was. But I'm going to say, you guys probably know better than me, it's probably been a 10 to 12 year sort of build out of that area. There's a couple sort of infill sites available still, but largely that area is 100% developed. So the next point of the next sort of major employment area that we're focused on is Dairy Green. So that's at James Snow Parkway, I guess east of James Snow, just south of the 401. And that is that's our next major business park that we're going to be developing starting at the end of this year, and it's probably going to be about a 6 to 8 year timeline before that's built out. That's going to accommodate all of the large major non-residential developments over those years. Sort of the same format as north of the 401, with some more flexible mixed-use spaces sort of sprinkled through there. So that's happening as we speak. The first major company to invest in that area is called DSV. They're a large Danish logistics provider, so they've got 1 million square feet that they're going to be starting to build later this year. And then so we're hoping that that's sort of a catalyst to kind of move that project along as well. From the office side, I mentioned how there really isn't any supply, and we're trying to, with our new economic development strategy, take the approach to sort of encourage some office development. And I know it's a tall order. I get a lot of weird looks, to be honest, when I say we want to be become more of an office area. The thinking behind that, though, is that we have a labor force that is, I'd say 70% of the people working in knowledge-based industries that are leaving Milton every day. So we want to do a better job of being able to attract the kinds of companies that are going to be able to employ those people, so you don't have to drive outside and commute either downtown or to Mississauga or wherever else every day. The other important thing on that topic is right now the town is going through four different secondary plans. So it may not sound like a lot, but we're the only GTA community that's doing more than one at the moment. And essentially, a secondary plan is sort of a magnified version of our official plan that focuses on a certain area. So the 4 areas we're talking about right now are the Main Street by the GO Station, the Egerton area, which is the Trafalgar corridor, so Trafalgar and Dairy Road, essentially. The Milton Education Village, which is on the other side of the town by where the velodrome is, and then the Boyne area, which is all the development you're seeing now at the south end of Milton there. So those are all areas that are going to be developed in a much more compact and dense way than we have in the past. So the challenge there is to sort of build some employment uses that match that form. So we're trying to do that with this plan. And yeah, the demand we're seeing right now is certainly for smaller users that require flexible space. And when I say smaller, I would say anything under sort of 30,000 square feet. We're seeing a ton of those out there right now. We just can't accommodate them, so we're turning them away. And that's really, really unfortunate, not what we want to do. Sorry, I should have referred to this map either, so it's a little grainy, but I can sort of explain this visually. It might be a little easier to sort of understand where we're looking at here. So this is the Egerton area I mentioned. I'll go east to west. This is a secondary plan that is very long-term at this point, so we're looking probably 20 plus years out. But the planning has begun now. There's also it's not even a plan yet, but there's a hope for a new GO station to be built there as well. And that is going to accommodate up to 100,000 people in Milton going forward. So it's going to be a major area for both residential and non-residential activity. The GO station area around there, that's largely, you've seen probably some of the condos going up already there. That area is a redevelopment area for us. So there's plans right now that I don't think construction started, but the GO station itself is going to be sort of intensified. There's actually an increase in parking you're going to see there as well, and there's some pieces of land that are going to be redeveloped and moved around there a little bit too. It's a little bit premature to talk about right now, but it's going to happen over the next 1 to 2 years, I would say. So that's a very short-term plan. We want to see some redevelopment in that area because we believe that because of the GO station and the higher order transit there really is a capacity to have some higher density, either condominiums or offices or anything that can be sort of more compactly developed in that area. The Milton Education Village, this area down here. So back in April, we as the town, we received confirmation from the province of funding for the Wilfrid Laurier in Conestoga College campus there. So they're going to be beginning that process of developing their site in 2019. So that's great news for us. That campus is going to be up and running. They're hoping 2021. We're thinking probably 2022 will be likely the timeline. And so that's going to be the first, aside from the velodrome, the first major project to move forward in that area. And then as that sort of progresses, that we'll see complementary uses. I mentioned our innovation center. The plans are for that to move over to that site location as well in the near future. I can send around, and you can see it on our annual report too. I can send around if anyone's interested that secondary plan because it's going to be really different than anything you've seen in Milton before. It's going to be its own little village, hence the name, the Milton Education Village. But it's the sort of mid-rise style of development that you're going to see a lot in that area. A lot denser. A lot more of a focus on transit, for now just bus transit, but that's going to be sort of the style of development you'll see there. The final area down here is Boyne that we're focusing on for a secondary plan, and that's there's a lot of residential development underway already there. Obviously, you can see the area that we're really focused on in this area is, I think it's right around here, is the Rattlesnake Point Golf Course. So there is, and this is public information, you can go on our website and find this out. There's some discussions underway with Golf Canada to hopefully get the Canadian Open permanently to come to Rattlesnake Point. And within that, there's plans to redevelop some of the land along 25 with some offices, probably not much residential, but some mixed-use commercial type development. So that's something that we're sort of waiting on the result of the discussions with Golf Canada to sort of solidify, but that's what we're sort of hoping for anyways for that area. This is a. I won't spend too much time on this, but this is just another sort of major project that's kind of top of mind right now for us, and it's this whole notion of the Toronto Waterloo Innovation Corridor, and we in Milton are sort of at the center of that geographic area. There's a lot of research, a lot of focus on this project right now. Back in, let me think, earlier this year, I guess it would be, the federal government announced that there is like $985 million of funding coming through to develop out this supercluster between Toronto and Waterloo. So we're just hoping that we can play a role in helping our companies access some of that funding, connecting them to potential partners and projects to help them sort of tap into it. And really for us, it just helps our brand and our marketing to be sort of lumped in with that. So we're hoping that that's the value for us out of this project. The last thing I'll touch on here is just from our department, some of the things that we're working on right now. And our new strategic plan is sort of the main component of this. And we're just starting to roll it out. It's still in draft form, but it'll be completed within the next 2-3 months or so. And it's essentially a new 5-year plan for us that is a fairly significant departure from focuses of previous sort of timelines, I guess you would say, when the economic development focus was really on attracting as much industrial development as possible to essentially pay the bills for the town. So we still want to capture some of that, but the focus right now is more, again, as I said, on office and knowledge-based economy style of built form that we can accommodate within our new growth areas. So, it's certainly something that's different than we've seen in the past, but so far we've had a lot of positive feedback on what we're going to be doing there. So we're hoping that's successful going forward. That just speaks to some of the things we're doing around that. I think I've touched on all these points already, but this is essentially how our strategic plan links with what I showed you on the first or second slide, which was what our core functions are of the department. So that is all I have for my presentation this morning. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I've got some marketing materials here. If you're interested, I have tons more hard copies at the office that I can certainly send out. I know this was a very sort of high-level brief presentation, but I hope you got something out of it. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any. Yeah.
Regarding the Toronto Waterloo corridor, I don't usually travel that way during business hours, but twice in the last few months I have. I missed a dinner and I was late for an appointment because that commuting during rush hour times there. In developing the corridor, have they taken into consideration traffic? Yeah,
that's the crux of the whole initiative is really goods movement. So that involves anything you see on a transport truck, essentially, that travels across that corridor. So whether or not it actually solves it is sort of another question. But what they're trying to do is look at ways to be more efficient and innovative in how goods and people, I guess, to an extent, move across that corridor. So, for example, one program that I know they're piloting, I think it's in Brampton right now, is expanding their city bylaws to allow deliveries beyond business hours. Because right now that's a bylaw in most communities that you can only deliver between, let's say, 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. So they're looking at expanding that so there's sort of off-peak hours that there's trucks kind of going back and forth. So those are the sort of things they're looking at. Yeah, I'm not sure it's an easy solution necessarily, but it's a problem that's been well sort of identified and known to policymakers. So.
Are they counting on moving traffic off of the highway through the CNN hub?
So in terms of the truck traffic that they're seeing, yeah. We're actually, maybe call me optimistic, but we're actually not anticipating that CNN hub to go through, for what it's worth. So.
Question: I heard that we're going to get another entrance to the 401 like off of.
Yep, Tremaine Road. Yeah. So they've started some of the. Excuse me, I'm going to grab my water here. They've started some of the prep work already for that. That'll be about 2 years, and yeah, that'll be another, really, I think, good thing for the community in terms of access to the highway.
Are they expanding GO service in correlation with the expansion of parking facilities, et cetera?
That's the plan. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but all-day two-way service is the goal. And I would say more than likely it'll be probably the next short term, like less than 5 years, I would think. But yeah, we haven't had any confirmation on that one, but it's certainly something that I think everyone wants and needs. So it's a good thing. Yeah.
What Amazon HQ? Any updates on that?
No, I mean we're still in contact with them through the region, through Halton Region. The last touch point we had, they were looking at sort of the demographic and employment data from the Toronto region, I guess you would call it. Probably by the end of the year, I would say we'll hear something. Yeah, And I mean, that's I don't know how everyone feels about that one, but that could be a good or a bad thing depending on how you see it.
I think it's a good.
I think so too, but it's not everyone's opinion on that. So
Yeah, but you need that, right?
yeah. So my contact information is there. If you have any questions, if anything or anything down the road that you're interested in learning about, feel free to contact me. We've got a small team. It's just myself and one other person. So we do what we can, but we're more than happy to help if you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.